Is training video number 5, and this is a huge question. How do I grow my small groups? Can I really grow my small groups in 40 days? Absolutely you can. We've seen our materials grow small groups by an average of 40% at churches, and I really think that's conservative. In fact, I was just talking to a church, this was during COVID, that said they grew their small groups by 426% from their pre-COVID numbers using one of our 40-day challenges. And so how do we do that? And so first off, what's small group? Well, I don't care if you call it small group or Bible study or connect group or life group. We're talking about a group of people meeting to go deeper than just a Sunday morning worship experience. So how do we grow that group? I want to do 3 things in this video. I want to talk about why I believe our challenges are effective at growing. And then number 2, I want to tell you about what are some of the strategies or the things that we teach to bring that growth. And then number 3, we get this question a lot is, cool, so for 40 days, we were meeting for small groups. What do we do when it's done? How do we maintain and even grow our small group ministry after a 40-day challenge? So first, let me talk about why I believe our resources have seen such great growth. And I think it really starts with the fact that all of our 40-day challenges are really simple to understand, and they start with really unifying premise. For instance, in Red Letter Challenge, which is all about how do I follow Jesus, the premise in this is the best way to follow Jesus is to follow Jesus. Like, what Christian, what person in your church is going to argue with that? So we start with a really unifying concept that's centered around Jesus, and then we flesh that out over the 40 days. Another reason why I think it's really successful is because we're not really asking for someone to be a small group leader. We're asking them to be a small group facilitator. So it's an easy on-ramp. There's a lot of people out there that may not think they have what it takes to lead, and they think that they need like some doctoral dissertation on the Bible and who Jesus is before they can lead a small group. And what we're saying is, no, we've got the materials done for you. We've got the videos done, the guides already ready to go. We're asking you to facilitate. So it's an easy on-ramp for facilitators. It's also an easy on-ramp for everyone else. One of the main reasons, it's 40 days. They're not signing up forever. They're signing up for a 6-week experience that we hope in that time, as they're involved in discussion and learning about Christ and especially connected to others, we really hope that this starts a habit then that would be important for them to continue to grow. And so those are some of the main reasons why we think this is a really great material to grow your small group. Jesus-centered, unifying premise. It's an easy on-ramp to get new leaders and facilitators, and it's an easy on-ramp and ask for the rest of your church. So what's our strategy? How do we do it? Here's what's kind of crazy. With all the new stuff going on out there these days, I really believe the best way to grow your small groups is that old-fashioned word of mouth asking people in your church when you're in front, of course, is important, but even more, I think one-on-one is identifying people in your church that you think have what it takes to be a small group facilitator and simply asking and challenging them to do that for 40 days. So let me break this down really simply. We work with churches of all sizes. Some church plants that are just getting ready and forming and don't have any small groups, and this will be the catalyst for it, and that's awesome. We work with churches that maybe 10 is the number of small groups they have meeting, and maybe it's 100 or 200, but whatever it is, here's what we want you to do from the beginning. And this is where a lot of the planning prior goes into a 40-day challenge, is whatever your small group is at right now. Let's choose a round number. Let's say you've got 10 small groups at your church. I want you to make a goal to go at least 50% beyond that number. So that'd be at least 15 groups. And so what do you need to get 15 groups? Well, first off, let's start with the original 10 that are already meeting. Let's make sure we include them in the process and they understand what we're doing and why we want them to be a part of this 40-day challenge. That's number 1. But then we need 5 more. So we need new leaders. So here's what I would challenge you to do is take a look at who in your church you believe has what it takes to be an effective small group facilitator. And then, honestly, ask them. Just ask them. If you can invite them, whether it's one-on-one or maybe it's, to all the small group leaders, maybe you have a luncheon or a breakfast at a key time, maybe on a Sunday. If you can then invite them to come and learn more and maybe for an hour, share a little bit of the why of what small groups are and why they're important for your church. And then maybe discuss, a little bit of the material, whether you're going through Red Letter Challenge or Being Challenge or our newest one, Forgiving Challenge. Maybe you'll go through the premise of that and watch a quick video that we provide for you. And just really help them see this is going to look like in those 40 days. Two other things I love to do at those. I love to set and give some rewards and some benefits to those. And so I think give them a free book. If they're going to lead a small group, give them a free book, or maybe even have to help identify your small group leaders. Maybe you get them a free shirt and really just bless them and be thankful that they're a part of your church in that way and that they're stepping up in that capacity. And so we've made a goal. We've identified who's new. We've invited them to come and hear more about small groups, and particularly this small group. And then finally, what I would say is then challenge them to go and to fill their small group. I think it's really important for them to fill their own small group if they're able, because they've got people in their lives that you don't know, that I don't know, that nobody else knows, that they might be able to invite and come to their small group and be a part of that. And here's what's cool about that is now this tool is starting to be used as an evangelistic outreach tool, and you're going to get new people from in your church from these small groups. And so definitely encourage them and challenge them to think of neighbors or coworkers or friends that don't go to their church that might want to be a part of something for 40 days. That's an awesome thing to do. And here's the deal. If they come and fill their group, they should just come and tell you, my group's filled. And if it's still not filled by the time it's launch day, that's when you can fill in the rest of the groups that have some openings. And I really believe that's a really quick video, quick answer on how to grow small groups. But just going back to that old-fashioned strategy of word of mouth, setting a goal, being intentional, and making it happen, I really think you're going to see God do some great things. So what do we do after this 40 days? So Zach, we had a great experience for 40 days. It was awesome. Now what? Well, of course, we'd love to work with you with future challenges. And so always think of us here at Red Letter Challenge, for sure, at Red Letter Living, to do a 40-day challenge. But you can't do 40-day challenges every single day, can you? And so what do you do after that? A couple things I'd recommend. Number one is don't feel the burden to have to reproduce what you just went through, right? You can't always every single day have polished graphics and materials and things that are fully produced and ready to go. So don't put that much pressure on you to create your own. Here's what I do think you're doing. You're probably planning many, many hours every single week to preach on Sunday. And so what would it look like for you to spend a little bit more time, or to have someone on your team spend a little bit more time reading that manuscript, you're hearing that sermon, and producing small group questions to go deeper with the material that you're already spending a lot of time with? The stats on how much people actually remember from our preaching is not as high as we want it to be. And so why not remind them during the week with some really great questions? So that's one thing. The other thing I would say is there's a great resource out there that I use called Right Now Media. Right Now Media is like the Netflix, if you will, of small group resources. They've got an incredible library with some really awesome studies that are ready to go. So take a look at Right Now Media. If you're a pastor or church leader, you might explore it, and you might try to find 10 to 12 different small group studies that you love, and you love for your people to go through. So when someone asks, what do I do now? You've got some things ready to go. And so don't feel the burden to have to reproduce something every single day, every single week after this. The other thing that I know our church does is we do small group seasons. And so we have 3 seasons in the year, about a 10 to 12 week in the winter, spring, and then another 10 to 12 in the fall, winter, and then one in the middle, summer, for about 6 to 8 weeks. And so don't feel like you have to produce for 52 weeks as well. So I'd love to see you grow your small groups, and we'd love to talk more with your church about what that looks like. And so I hope to see some incredible small group growth through the 40-day challenge in your church.